it going, guys? Omniscience here. Today I am back with a Eugene D deck profile. Now this is a deck profile that I've been wanting to do ever since the start of D. People who know me know that I'm actually a really huge fan of Dragon Empire, of Narukami in general, and this is really the closest deck that I have to that. Honestly, I wasn't really hyped about the first 5 SDs or the first 10 decks, to be very honest, but after re-looking at all of them, I really just liked Eugene the more I playtested him, and so I eventually got it in person, and now I'm doing a deck profile on him. Fair enough. But while I've been doing all of this in my little corner, I've noticed that Eugene is becoming the most controversial deck of this entire format, or if not this game. Today, we are finally back for Eugene DBTO2. This is a deck I've been really excited to get into because I really, like I said, I enjoy Eugene as a deck a lot. And Eugene in set 2 didn't get a lot, but it got some relatively good cards as well as plenty of great generic options. I've heard, and you probably have as well, a lot of praise for set 3 Eugene. And we have to give credit where credit's due. Set 3 Eugene is actually pretty good. It's not going to be your next meta, it's not going to be, being able to completely destroy the top decks like, Leonard, Derek and whatnot. But I will say that Eugene is in a much better spot. I just really can't say that, Eugene's a bad deck anymore, because it really isn't. When people say Eugene is best deck, now it will have an unironic meaning. Eugene, the Narukami representative of Overdrive's format. Eugene as a deck has sincerely never changed from set 3. Set 3 we received a lot of good things in my opinion, but right now we barely got anything. I say we scraped the barrel, but the set 3 core, as well as what Eugene has come through, has really helped us to still stay somewhat viable. Of course, don't expect to beat Yoda. Don't expect that. Eugene in set 7. To say that Eugene is still the worst deck format is a far cry. Eugene is definitely one of the better decks out there, and this set has clearly cemented his place out of the rug. He is no longer going to be the joke of a ban list. He's no longer going to be the joke of a tier list. He's definitely going to be standing much higher than he used to be. He's no longer your auto-includes when it comes to your D, E and F tier. He's going to be standing there 2, 3 or even 1 for some people. And that's really perfectly fine, because he's deserved this. It's been 6 sets and he's not even got support in 3 sets. So yeah, but is this support worth looking out for if you're looking from an opponent's perspective? I'll say not so much, because if you're worried about Eugene, you have a lot more issues playing in a harsher format than Eugene himself. It has been an entire year since we covered Eugene. Last we saw Eugene, he was doing very well in DBTO7. However, massive changes in the meta game, irrelevance of the deck, as well as a complete overshadowing in his own nation thanks to Gandiva, has led to Eugene being virtually unplayable. Now, this has changed a bit with new support, but really nothing has changed with this deck. It's still really bad. Playing this deck, really, you might as well just play something as equally bad that still has a chance of winning, like Vermilion. You might as well just be playing Shoujo Doji, Megalozuchi, Virina. Like, this deck is seriously bad, but I want to cover it because it recently does a new support, and this video is really meant to show you what the future of Eugene looks like, because I feel that with this version of Eugene, really the only thing holding the deck back is Eugene himself. The rest of the card pool has significantly advanced since we first started failing in DBTO1. It's been 4 months and we already have 3 new modern support cards for Eugene, all from different sources. And you know something? They're all really good, and that's a problem. Eugene is still the same boss from DZBTO1, and when I tell you that my boss monster doesn't even have a serial year, unlike every other card since DBTO2, yeah, that tells you how old and bad this card is. So the day we stop playing Eugene, I think that's a miracle. Today I am back to warmly welcome all of you to DZBTO5 Omniscience Awakening. I think that's the English name, I don't know, but I'm gonna do it for bang, and the biggest bang I know, it's my boy Eugene. Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm Omniscience here. Today I am back to cover Eugene in DZBTO5, or as he can now be called, the Dust Storm of Inferno, Eugene. honestly, from the bottom of my heart, this is the video you've probably all been waiting for. I'm really happy and really excited to cover this video. But of course, just I hope you guys enjoyed the little edited montage I did in the opening, because this is really emotional for me. Eugene is a deck that is my first D series deck. Let's be real, I started with it in DBTO1. This deck has been mocked, pulled through the dirt, humiliated, and I'm really glad to see that today we actually got a finally upgraded boss. I will put the link in the description for my Eugene Divine deck profile, and that video gives you a lot of context as to what Eugene actually is dealing with. Eugene, in terms of his new support right now, is actually pretty insane, but that's only because of the new boss. The boss unit is insane. It's really good actually, but his support is very questionable. So today we're going to go through it in terms of what Eugene has today, the support he's using right now, as well as the support that will come to help him. Now, just two announcements I have before I move out of the way. One is I would like to just say thank you. I would like to just say thank you to first of all, my friend who actually bought me this FR Eugene playset for an early Christmas present. I really appreciate it. It took me by surprise, really, even after I literally just bought my double rare. But I really do appreciate it. It's things like this that really it touches me, and I'll keep this for as long as I humanly can. So really, thank you very much. Secondly, also thank you to everyone who's helped me test this, and thirdly and most importantly, thank you to all of you who have been following this channel recently. Some of my videos have really blown up, some have really crashed, but recently there's a lot of new faces on the channel, so I'd like to say welcome and thank you very much. I took some feedback from one of the videos I released earlier last month. I believe it is for my Catapult video or my Shoujo Doji video, where someone commented I have a mic problem. So I'm actually testing with a different mic set right now. So please let me know in the comments below if this is actually better or worse, because I can't really hear it post editing. But I would really appreciate it if you guys actually get back to me all in the comments. I'm really you can also comment Eugene Best Deck. I will heart every comment that says Eugene Best Deck. So yeah, let's actually move on to the deck itself. So for our right deck, this is the right deck that I am playing, and I know what some of you may be wondering, what the hell is this? Now, this is of course energy. I'll put the links in the description below for the Divines Explained video. And for the right deck, we are actually going back to play the very first set of Eugene's right line. And previously, you would have heard me ragging on this till no end. You have heard me say many countless vulgarities towards these cards, that they are really bad, that they are shit, that there's just the worst things on planet Earth. But right now, they serve a very different purpose, and I think I have to explain in a nutshell. So, because these cards don't actually have serial years, because they were printed DBTO1, I'm just going to run through it real quick for all of you. So of course, our starter is Bard. Bard actually got a reprint in DZBTO 05, sorry. So here's his reprint. Yeah, I think they changed his flavor text, but that's about all you have to know. It's still Bard. Then we have Nigel. Nigel, when rolled upon by Randall, you just soul charge 1. Really easy skill. It doesn't plus, it doesn't do anything, but that soul is very important considering it's a free soul. Randall, when he attacks, you counterblast 1, soul charge 1, and this unit gains 5000 power. Even though this costs a counterblast, and I've been really on and down about the skill, it's actually pretty good now because it can give you a 15k number and it can attack. So I do think it's pretty worthwhile. And his skill is, when he attacks, when any unit with the original Eugene name writes on top of him, you can actually just draw a card, choose a card from your drop zone, movies of the soul. So again, free soul, again, and a draw. So as you can see here, the team here is we're trying to get a lot of soul, but we're not using it for some stupid soul plus 5 skill. We're using it for the Dust Storm of Inferno, Eugene. Now, just quick segue before I continue. Why Eugene is called the Inferno is because in the lore, Eugene's gun is actually built of Drachma, who is the Xeroth Dragon of Inferno. So it actually makes sense that when Eugene finally gets to show off his full firepower, he's gonna be referenced as Inferno, as in Drachma. So yeah, I thought this was a really cool reference. I think most people would have missed that, but I didn't, because I read Eugene lore for the last 4 years, so I was really blown away. So yeah, but sadly he didn't really get a new form. It just looks like his gun's gotten a bit bigger. I don't know. We'll have to wait for the full art. Eugene has multiple skills. The first one is that he counts as the original Eugene. So if for some godforsaken reason you wish to play dress up with the old Eugene, then but by all means, sure, you you can do that. Not sure why you would, but it's an option. You can humanly do that. Okay. Second skill is you can rest two of your rearguards, choose one of your opponent's columns, and retire all the rearguards in it. Now, because it actually chooses a column, it actually bypasses resist, but it does not bypass ladder. So if your opponent's playing ladder, it doesn't work. Okay, so just make sure you want to keep that in mind, that that's how the ruling works. The third skill is the most interesting one that he actually tagged on top. For those of you who know, Eugene used to be a failure who just Soul Blast 5 to call 5 triggers on the board. Now you can do that in your battle phase. Eugene, when this unit attacks, you can Counter Blast 1 and Soul Blast 1, look at the top 5 cards of your deck, choose up to 2 cards that are grade 3 or less, call them to the same column as each other, and then after that, if your opponent has... And then after that, this unit gains 5,000 power. If your opponent has 3 or more open rear guards, and if your opponent is grade 3 or greater, the units caught by this effect gain 5,000 power. Now, the number one thing that is the weak point of this new Eugene is that one, it uses soul every turn, which is, you know, kind of expensive, which is why I'm using this override line. And two, it only gains 5,000 power, so it doesn't even hit Eugene's original number of 23. So maybe a bummer, but I don't think that really matters. I think the idea that Eugene at its core now has basic multi-attack outside of Oswald, I mean, that's that's major. Last set, the last time we did Eugene, we covered Dust. This is Durkham, yeah. We covered Durkham, and Durkham is, you know, he's Durkham, but he's a bit clunky. But I'll go through him a bit more later. Now Eugene has his own multi-attack built into the Vanguard. It's so good, and the conditions for Eugene's power-up is only if your opponent has 3 or more open rearguard circles, which means as long as you aren't fighting a ladder opponent, that's really easy. It's actually a really simple condition to fulfill, and you do have enough retire because Eugene retires 2 rearguards in the column, which means you just need that and 1 more retire, and generally speaking, that skill will always 100% be fully online. I cannot describe how much of an upgrade it is from this trash. Like, wow, not only is the art better, I feel, I mean, this is a 4-year difference, right? But like, wow, it just, I'm blown away. Really, I'm blown away. Thank you, Bushiroad. I'm grateful. You know, it's stuff like this that really makes me surprised that they can still pull this stuff out their bum. Although I will just quickly comment here, Vanguard Dragas, next tier 0 deck. So yeah, there's a problem with all Dragon Empire decks right now, is that they're just imitations of Varga. But you know, we'll take what we can get, right, boys? We'll take what we can get. Moving on to our grade 3s. We actually play 4 copies of Eugene. Nice. And then we play 4 copies of Best Harvest. Now, I already covered Eugene. I don't think I need to explain it further. Persona is generally good. We don't really put a Regalis piece because, as you'll see later, we want to keep the number of orders in our deck to a minimum because we are using a top 5 search to call 2, and that's not a very big amount for those of you who know Blonezzo. Now, we still have to play Best Harvest at a 4 off, and I'll explain that to you in a bit. I hear some people online say, no, Ames, I don't want to hedge on Best Harvest. Best Harvest is bad. Yes and no. Best Harvest is a double-edged sword. Not just for Eugene players, but for Gandiva players as well. You might want to take notes. Best Harvest, on one hand, is really good for helping you fight back a board state. You know, it gives you draws for every one you manage to retire. It's pretty good, right? And now that Eugene can retire too, that's definitely a lot better. The cons is that if your opponent's already playing an empty board, or their board can't be retired, or you don't have enough cards to retire in the first place, then generally speaking, it is actually kind of worthless. Best Harvest doesn't really help you much besides dig through the deck, because for every time your opponent's gets retired by your card effect during the main phase, you draw a card. You need to retire at least 2 units to get a +1 of this thing. If not, it's a net 0, and that's not very good. But I would say that right now, more than ever, Eugene needs to play Best Harvest, because this meta is so unfair. Like, okay, Vaga aside, if you're fighting stuff like Rezile, if you're fighting stuff like Levidras, you're going to need that draw to be able to sustain against their scaling divine skills +5/+5 and then the +10 from there. God knows what. You're going to need that. This is one of the few advantage engines that Eugene still has access to left. So please guys, please Gundiva players, don't fuck this up for us. We genuinely need this card still. I would be really happy if Eugene's design space actually allows us to move away from best offers. That's definitely something I'll go on camera to say. But who knows? I certainly can't say for sure, but this is something I would still say for this set until the end of 2024. You guys still need to play this. Moving on to our grade 2s. Our grade 2s, we play Randall on the right deck, as you already know. And then, of course, moving forward, we also have some other things for you. We also have 4 copies of Jibra Brachio, 4 copies of Meteor Flare, and 4 copies of Durga. Looks very similar to the list from last video, I know, but realistically all these choices did the same. Jibra Brachio is still the strongest Eugene grade 2 gamer of all time. Actually, there is another card that does the exact same skill. They actually printed a Dust Storm girl that does the exact same skill of Jibra Brachio. It's exact 1-to-1. You can play either or. It's a nice reprint, or you could actually just play 8 copies of Jibra Brachio. I haven't decided if I want to play 8 copies of Jibra Brachio. I tried it. I think it's not bad, but at least I should at least warn and inform Eugene players that this is an option for you, especially for those on a budget, because this is actually pretty effective. On grade 2 turns, at the start of the battle phase, your opponent's 1 or less rear guards, you stand these units, unit kits 5,000 power. That instantly means that you have a 15k body on the board as early as turn 2, assuming you don't fight things like Leonon. That is huge in terms of rushing for early aggro, because having a 15k body generally is just really good on turn 2. And it can scale, because every turn, once per turn, Soul Blast 1, if you have a Vanguard with Eugene in its name, rest this unit, choose one of your opponent's rear guards, retire it. Both of them have the exact same skill, so if you actually need to find a way to consistently retire your opponent's rear guards, having more copies of Jibra Brachio is a good thing. However, in my list, in this current environment, I feel 4 is enough, but you can definitely experiment with more. I've tried it, I'm not sure, and that's why I need to raise that option to you. Oh, and yeah, before I move on, I'm pretty sure someone is gonna want to call me out, so I just wanna just quickly segue. The grade 2s, the grade 2s here, you see all these guys here, yeah, they are the reason why I'm not playing the new Eugene ride line. So for those of you who don't know, Eugene actually got a new ride line in this set. Colorless is the top 5 searcher for Dust Storm. Luan is the energy +3 to draw 2 and move 1 card from hand to the soul. As long as it wrote on top, as long as Luan writes on top colorless. Realistically, in my world, I would have preferred to have colorless go into Randall, but because colorless can only use its effect when rolled upon by Luanda, it makes it quite unworthy. And Luanda is kind of a nerf version of Randall. Luanda, even though it does the same features like the +5,000 power, the draw, the moves into soul, I just find that energy +3 is very expensive in this deck, and being locked out of a lot of your Dust Storm names due to colorless, I think that's really bad, and you will see why when I talk about the rest of the grade 2s. The rest of the grade 2s, firstly, Meteor Flare Dragon. Meteor Flare Dragon is still freaking insane. I love this guy to death. When placed on the rear guard circles, all of your opponent's rear guards lose their continuous ability. Then, counterblast 1, choose one of your opponent's rear guards in the same column as this unit, and retire it. Now, this makes this a pocket perdition dragon, but it turns off all of your opponent's cons abilities on their rear guards. So their obscudates can lose their shields, a lot of the continuous effects that come from their rear guards, they just lose it outright, which is really impactful, especially when you're playing a deck like Eugene. Sure, this still loses to Eva, in the sense that Eva is protected with the set order, but anyone else who doesn't have ladder, very fair game. Meteor Flare is also something you can actually call on turn 2 to beat, which in the past I would not recommend it, but right now I'll say that's totally viable. The second skill is that when this during your turn, if your opponent's grade 3 or greater and have no rear guards, this unit gains 10. This makes it a 20k beater by itself. This is actually the largest and cheapest number you have available. I know some people recommend it for Dustin. I think Dustin's fine, but the issue I have with Dustin is that he costs Soul Blast on every attack. which is very costly. And why do I need a 20k beater? That's because of Durkham. Durkham, when placed on the rearguard circle, if you have a Vanguard with Gundiva or Eugene in its card name, that's great 3 greater. Soul Blast 1 and Energy Blast 3, choose one of your opponent's rearguard to retire it. If you can't retire, draw a card and give your this unit the ability that when your Vanguard attacks, choose one of your own rearguards and stand it. So Durkham, for a cost of Soul Blast 1, Energy Blast 3, can either retire one or draw one and give you a restand. The retire part of Durkham is actually very expensive because Soul Blast 1 and Energy Blast 3, that's basically 2 points of advantage. You're spending 2 points of advantage to retire one rearguard, which is really bad, so I would not recommend it. But the restand skill is definitely why it's around. And if you play at all of this turn, this unit gains boost. That's also why we play Best Harvest at 4. So as you can see, my list actually plays around a very neat little engine around Best Harvest and using the different supports that Eugene has gotten over the years to try and overlay into a coherent support deck, just like I've done as per usual. But the downside is that the right line does take a hit. I do want to play the new right line. I think the new right line does has its benefits, but because of the way it's quite restrictive towards the Dust Storm archetype, which a lot of Eugene's good cards aren't Dust Storm, yeah, it really makes me doubt. So that's why right now you see the list as is. Moving on to our grade 1s. We play Randall on the right deck, as I've already discussed, so I won't be moving much forward with that. And then to kind of flesh more of it out, we play 3 copies of Clifton, 4 copies of Oswald, 4 copies of Justine, and then we play 4 perfect cards. Not going to describe perfect cards, we need them to stay alive, so pretty nice. You can choose not to play Sanctitude, because Eugene calls the order cards, unit cards by the way. Okay, and then after that, we also have Justine. Justine is from set 1, DZPTO 1. Her skill is that if you have a greater Vanguard of Eugene, this unit gains 5k shield, so it's a nice shield. And that when your opponent's Vanguard is retired by own card's effect, if your Vanguard is Eugene, that's greater, you can stand this unit gains 5000 power. It's basically a stronger version of the Eugene Turtle from set 4, DBTO 4. So she's nice, she's Dust Storm name, so you can actually consider her for the list of Eugene that you want to play, that play colorless. Okay, so just take that in mind in case you wish to build the colors variant. You can actually do that with Justine. Justine is really good, especially against non-Varga opponents, because having her in the back row ensures that your retire per turn is very, very simple. However, against Varga opponents, she's a Death Wish. Speaking of Death Wishes for Varga, Oswald, at the end of the battle, that this unit boosts a greater Vanguard of Eugene if your opponent's Vanguard is greater, and have no rear guards, count +1, discard a card from your hand, choose one of your Vanguard's superior standard, and it gets crit and drive reduced to 1. Now, this is basically Ziegenberg, for those of you who know who Flarearm Ziegenberg is. So it turns Eugene into a pocket Ziegenberg. It wouldn't be that bad if Eugene's number didn't shrink from 23 to 18 this set, but I think having an extra Vanguard attack peppered into all the new multi-attack lists that it has is fine. However though, I see a lot of people sleeping on Oswald because, you know, boards are kind of hard to retire 5 nowadays. But I would still recommend, as a Blade Master player, if you can retire all the rearguards, you absolutely should strive for it, because that's a skill you don't sleep on. Especially given the fact, you know, you can put crits and stuff. I've seen a lot of Twitter people online laughing at Eugene saying, "Oh, it doesn't work well with Drunk Feather." Well, then you've missed the point. Yes, it doesn't work well with Drunk Feather, but what? You want Eugene to be good? No, but the thing is that the more attacks you have in this game, the better. I mean, look at Night Rose. She's not doing well for a reason, right? But this is... I don't know, man. Like, just stick to playing Drunk Feather. Don't complain, Eugene players. Come on, you have so little in life to live for. You have so little things going right in your life, and this is what you want to pick on? Grow up, man. And last but not least, we have Clifton. Clifton is actually from my set 12 video. I won't link that one here, but you know, I just thought I should at least mention it. Clifton is basically Bobble Mine for Eugene, and I know that sounds really stupid for some people. They go, what? But yeah, it's actually just Bobble Mine. I'm gonna just make sure I pull out the correct skill just so everybody is on the right page with me, because I really wouldn't want to read a skill that is, you know, faulty. So Clifton, Wild Bullet of Dust Storm, Clifton. His skill is when his unit attacks or boosts, if your opponent's rear guards were retired by the ability of your Vanguard this turn, this unit gains 2000 power at the end of the battle for each of your opponent's open rear guard, which means you can actually play Gunliva as an 18k attacker or booster. That's nice, but of course this is for Eugene. Being able to attack or boost to gain the power means that you can actually run Clifton as a solo column for 18k, especially in the early game to threaten, and then when you get rid of Clifton, you now have open rearguard circles for you to use Eugene's ability to call on, because even though, like I said, Eugene has a multi-attack skill, that skill actually calls on rearguard circles, which means you're actually not plussing at all. So this is one of the reasons why having rearguards remove themselves is very important, evading rearguards basically. The second skill of Clifton, that is the evade skill, is at the end of the battle this unit boosted. If you have a Vanguard of Eugene's card name, retire this unit, choose up to 3 cards from your soul, and if you choose 1 or more cards, return them to the deck, shuffle it. Full stop. If you did not countercharge this turn, countercharge 1. Now, you do not need to return any cards from your soul to be able to get access to the countercharge. I think this is something a lot of people don't know, but I just want to say that right now. You don't actually need that skill to actually countercharge. You can, however, freely just move cards back from the soul back to the deck if you want, especially if you soul charge, say, a straight trigger. So, yeah, it's nice to know. You can also use stuff like, Randor skill to just casually, slide your over trigger from your drop zone back to the deck and just shuffle it back, and there you go, your over trigger set. Good job. And now let us move on to the grade 0, shall we? Our grade 0s is coming right up. What do we have on grade 0s? Our grade 0s, we obviously have this guy. It's still Bart. He hasn't changed at all. Sorry about just camera. We play Drum Feather, as you know, surprise. 4 heal, we want to stay alive. 8 crits. Yeah, I actually sorted the Shadowverse crits, can you imagine? Thank you to one of my friends who dropped by my latest WGP and gave these to me. I really appreciated it. I'm a small Shadowverse fan, but not really. I don't really care about it. But I just thought it was really nice to own something from another card game. And then 3 Fate Draws, because Eugene's Peace Reliant. Yeah, and that will wrap up my Eugene deck profile, or the Dust Storm of Inferno Eugene. My overall thoughts, very simple. This deck, not very good, but you know what? This is the best deck we could have gotten. I really don't see a future where, Eugene is going to get worse support from here on out. I think the fact that they gave us such powerful of a grade 3 upgrade is astonishing. Like, comparing Vaga to Vaga Raksasha, comparing Levidras to Levidras Emporio, and comparing Rezael to Rezael Vita, am I stupid to say this is the best upgrade in that set? I don't know. It's such a great overhaul, and it really changes so much of the text. It gives it a lot more utility, it gives it a lot more aggression, a lot more advantage. It's really good. I know it sounds stupid to compare to a card that was released 4 years ago. 4 years ago, half of you didn't even know what women are, I'm guessing, judging by your age groups. But it's amazing to me. It really does surprise me. And even though it's just a double rare, which makes it even more affordable, I'm just glad from the bottom of my heart we have this. I know moving forward the Eugene support is going to build into this direction, which is Eugene Inferno. I know for an absolute fact that they're going to give us rear guards that can remove itself in a battle, rear guards that can trade each other like Jeepa Brachio. It's a really exciting time to be a Eugene player, because this was probably the biggest thing holding Eugene back for years, and I just cannot describe it to you. I think the takeaway from this video is not that Eugene is some super secret tier 0 sleeper threat, but it's more that, this is a deck that you can definitely look at again with joy. This is a deck that you can have hope for, and that's kind of the theme of these at BTO5. I've seen Flankberg players, I've seen Youthberg players even, and speaking of Youthberg, yes, I will be actually doing Youthberg in the upcoming video, so stay tuned, and I've seen Grand Fear players, I've seen Zorga players, Chris Rain players, all come back screaming, shouting for joy, even Flame G players, because Flame G is secretly meta, okay, believe me, and it's insane, honestly. I really don't think I've seen a set do this kind of effect on people, but it has, and I'm grateful for that. So thank you God for letting me be alive today, and thank you Bushiroad for even giving me the damn chance to talk about another Eugene. I never even thought I'd reach this day, but I'm so glad to be here. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Farga, I need you banned. I need you to ban Rakurse. Okay, I need you to ban Twin Pulsive Dragon. Just ban every good Dragon Empire card. Eugene is the best deck.